December 1170 cloaked Canterbury Cathedral in a bitter chill, the ancient stones whispering secrets of a kingdom divided. Within its sacred walls, Archbishop Thomas Becket stood unyielding, his heart set on God's law over King Henry II's crown. Once, the two men had been allies, even friends. Henry's trusted chancellor turned archbishop. But Becket betrayed the king's expectations, siding not with the throne but with the church. Their feud tore England's soul, faith versus power, altar versus crown. In a moment of fury, Henry's words rang out in his court. "Will no one rid me of this turbulent priest?" For knights, their armor glinting with malice, took those words as a death warrant. They stormed the cathedral as dusk bled into the northwest transept, now marked by a stark sword cross. Steel clashed, voices roared, and with a sickening crack, Becket's skull split beneath the knight's blade. Blood seeped into the flagstones, warm against the winter chill. Witnesses swore, the walls groaned with the sound, as if the very stones recoiled at the deed. With his final gasp, Thomas Becket transcended flesh, becoming a martyr whose shadow would haunt England forever. The cathedral, meant for prayer and peace, now carried the weight of murder. Pilgrims soon flocked to the site, kneeling by the blood-stained stones, whispering prayers and pressing cloths to the floor in hopes of healing. Reports of miracles spread swiftly, blind eyes opening, the lame walking, the sick rising from their beds. Some said they saw the Archbishop himself, his face glowing with pale light, blessing the faithful at night. Within 3 years, the Pope had canonized him as a saint, and Canterbury became one of Christendom's greatest shrines, later immortalized by Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. Even King Henry II could not escape the ghost of his crime. In 1174, barefoot and dressed in sackcloth, he crept to Becket's tomb, submitting to the scourge of monks as he begged forgiveness. Yet the stain of the Archbishop's blood remained, seeping into the very stones, and with it something else, a presence. Becket's shrine was shattered by Reformation zeal in the 16th century, his bones scattered, his name cursed by royal decree. Yet fire and hammer could not erase what lingered. The pilgrims' prayers had soaked into the walls, the night's fury had scarred the floor, and Becket's final cry had imprinted itself on the air. The cathedral had become a reliquary of memory, haunted by saint and sinner alike. Centuries on, twilight visitors whisper of a hooded monk gliding through the transept, his robes trailing a scent of ancient incense. Others glimpse an armored shadow, visor down, pacing as if chained to an endless penance. The air turns icy, heavy with unseen eyes and faint chants. Mournful, Gregorian, rise from the shadows, only to be silenced by a sudden, suffocating stillness. In the 1990s, a group of schoolchildren huddled near the sword cross, their giggles cut short by slow, deliberate footsteps echoing closer. A shadow loomed from the pillars, tall, indistinct, then vanished, leaving a girl clutching her scratched arm, swearing she'd felt a cold hand grip her wrist. The guide, pale, insisted no one else was there. Each December 29th, the anniversary of Becket's murder, the cathedral hums with unrest. Candles gutter without wind. Bells toll faintly in the dark. Monks on vigil report whispers at their shoulders, sometimes voices crying sanctuary, as though replaying the Archbishop's last desperate call. Paranormal investigators capture sudden drops of temperature, disembodied prayers in Latin, and the faint clang of steel. Some claim to hear for phantom riders at the cathedral doors, spectral hooves striking sparks that fade into nothing. And then there are the nights. History records that all four met grim ends: exile, illness, madness. Folklore insists their souls are bound to Canterbury, cursed to reenact their treachery each year as the saint they struck down rises to confront them. Witnesses speak of spectral duels in the transept, a figure in robes facing down for armored shades, their clash echoing through the arches long after midnight. Skeptics scoff, muttering of draughts in ancient corridors, of shadows playing tricks in flickering gloom. But believers swear the cathedral itself remembers, that stone absorbs violence, and blood calls back the dead. One truth holds: in Canterbury's hallowed halls, history does not rest. It breathes, it watches, it walks. So if you stand in the transept at dusk, when December's cold breath lingers in the stones, ask yourself, will you hear the saint or the sinner? And if you hear footsteps behind you, will you dare to turn?